Hi there, I'm Danny Flexon and welcome to this week's edition of Seconds Out Reflections. We're here every Monday, 4:30 p.m. to review the boxing action that's taken place over the weekend just gone. And really, this is going to be devoted to one fight in particular. It will come as no surprise to you guys that fight is Canelo Alvarez adding the IBF middleweight title, spoiler alert, to the two major belts he already held in the division by getting I would say clear, and I'll talk about that a bit more, decision victory over Danny Jacobs out in Las Vegas. But a lot of people had the fight close, and that was the biggest surprise to me. Also, a lot of people have criticised the fight for being a bit dreary, Gennady Golovkin among them, funnily enough, in the tweets. I disagree on both counts, actually. We'll start with the fight as a spectacle. I didn't think Jacobs pushed the fight enough to give himself a real chance of winning, which is a shame. And I also think Canelo did fade in the second half of the fight. But I wouldn't say that it made it a dreary spectacle. Some of Canelo's work was beautiful at times. You know, his agility, his head movement, some of his punch picking, his hand speed, even his footwork, which has improved a lot, was a real joy to watch at times. So even though it might not have been as competitive as some hoped, I still think it's well worth watching. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely watch the replay as I did last night. On the other side of that, the official judges' scores, I think 2 of them had it 7 rounds to 5 to Canelo and 1 had it 8 rounds to 4. I really struggled to give Jacobs more than 3 rounds that he clearly won. I think the 9th and the 10th were really good for him. The 1st, debatable. 7th was decent as well. So 4 absolute max. I thought Canelo clearly won all the rest. I think I had it 9-3. I can't remember which of those 4 I just mentioned I actually gave to Canelo, but I only gave Jacobs 3 rounds, but a lot of people out there had it closer, and a few even had Jacobs winning, at least at first glance, which just baffles me. I can't explain that at all, and there's no inherent bias. You know, I didn't go into the fight as a big fan of either guy or a big fan of either guy's style. I've enjoyed watching both of them before in separate fights. I actually thought Jacobs gave Gennady Golovkin a closer fight than he gave Canelo. So I'm not kind of against either guy. I just felt that Jacobs didn't really press the action. He landed some flashy combinations in selected rounds, but then stepped off the gas. Thought Canelo, not just because he was coming forward, but just generally dictated the pace and the rhythm of the fight. The fight tended to take place on Canelo's terms most of the time, at least 8 or 9 of the rounds. Jacobs never really did enough, even when his corner was urging him to. His movement was good, he was slick, he landed some nice shots, he was pretty accurate. But he just didn't do enough in a lot of the rounds, and Canelo was always dictating. It felt like Jacobs, rather than being proactive, was often just reacting to what Canelo was doing. You know, he'd get tagged once or twice and then he'd feel the need to throw a fast burst to kind of right the wrong in the judges' eyes and come back into the round. Caught Canelo with some really big shots at times as well, and as we know, Canelo's got a great chin, and that held up once again against a much naturally bigger man. But yeah, I thought it was a clear win for Canelo, and I'm sure a lot of you will comment below and tell me you disagree, which is great, but please, if you are going to disagree, tell me why, and also tell me which rounds you gave to Jacobs. That would be helpful for me, if nothing else. Moving on from what I found a gripping spectacle, even if not everyone did, who's going to be next for Canelo? We expect him to fight on September the 14th, which is the Saturday nearest to Mexican Independence Day, which I think follows 2 days later. He usually has those May and September holiday weekends to himself. There's been talk, Oscar De La Hoya, his promoter, said after the fight, there's talk of him going to Wembley Stadium over here in our fine country to take on Callum Smith. Not sure that fight sells out Wembley Stadium, but I'm not discounting it as a possibility. Perhaps a fight with Sergey Kovalev, even at light heavyweight, De La Hoya suggested. Maybe at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, of course, which Canelo knows well. Be a big fight there. But I think more likely, I think the favourite is still Gennady Golovkin for that trilogy fight in September, assuming he gets past the unheralded Steve Rolls early next month. If he looks impressive in that, I think that trilogy fight could be made, especially now they're both fighting on DAZN, the broadcaster. But if not, maybe Demetrius Andrade, another DAZN fighter. He holds the only major world middleweight title that Canelo doesn't have, the WBO belt. I think Andrade's got a fight to get past first. The rumour is against Hassan N'Dam. So if that comes off and he gets through that, he could come into the frame. I don't think it'll be Kovalev necessarily next up. Callum Smith again is a possibility if they can get it arranged in time. Not sure how good Wembley is September-wise with the football season and so on. We'll have to look into that. Jermall Charlo is obviously another possibility. He's been WBC interim champion for about a year now, I think. But the WBC have yet to make him the mandatory. I've put a call into Mauricio Suleiman, just waiting on an update regarding that situation, so it'll be interesting to hear. But yeah, I would make Golovkin the favourite at the moment for that September fight. So let me know what you think of the Jacobs fight, how you had it and so on. But also let me know who you'd like to see Canelo fight next and why. Really interested in that. We'll be back for the next reflections next Monday, 4:30 p.m. We'll also be here with Flexpectations, 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, to preview all the upcoming boxing action, or the main, I shouldn't write tickets, I can't cash. The main boxing action for this weekend. I'll be previewing that and maybe adding in some predictions. Look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.